So the facts aren't fully out in the public domain just yet. The charges are being contested vehemently by the Adani Group. Where does the truth lie? Because what you have is a group of FIIs based out of Mauritius who invest a disproportionately large sum of their corpus in Adani Group companies. In some instances like the Elara India Opportunities Fund, 97% of the investment is in Adani Group companies. In the case of Cresta Fund, 97.40% of the investment has been in Adani Group companies. In the case of APMS investment, 96.18%, Albula investment, 95.40%, Asia Investment Corporation, 35%, LTS investment 97.47%, Vespara Fund 98.30% of the investment in companies of the Adani Group. By itself, this isn't a crime, it's not even illegal. However, this does raise questions about why these companies, which have very limited public float, are seeing such huge investments from these FIIs and all the money from those FIIs being invested in the same set of Adani Group companies. And now the action of the NSDL, which has frozen accounts of 3 FPIs, which is again something which the Adani Group is contesting. Joining me for perspective on this broadcast, I'm joined by Jayshree Upadhyay. She's a journalist with The Morning Context, has been reporting on the story closely. We have MK Venu, senior journalist. Siddharth Zarabi has been a business editor. Dhirendra Kumar joins us, founder and chief executive of Value Research, which tracks the stock markets very closely. Jayshree Upadhyay, I come to you first. On the back of the story that you put out, we've now seen a statement from the Adani Group which says that A, they're claiming that the demat accounts of these FPIs haven't been frozen. Is that indeed the case? If that's the case, then there isn't a story. Then why has the Adani Group lost 55,000 crore rupees of market capital? What exactly do we know at this moment? Have these accounts been frozen by the NSDL or not? Because the very basis of the market moving in the way that it did is currently under question itself.
So, of course, Rahul, just to clarify this fact that, of course, this NSDL report of the funds being frozen was coming from the Economic Times in the morning. And that was the basis of why these funds, of the way the Adani Group company shares tanked. Now, just to clarify, most of the time when NSDL or these kind of depositories freeze these accounts, it's because there are some deficiencies in the way these funds have, maybe they have not given the proper documentation or KYC documentation. That could be one of the reasons why these funds were blocked. However, now, of course, it's emerging towards the late evening after 3:30. We got to know that Adani Group testing the fact that these funds were not frozen at all. And at least APMS, which are the funds, which was APMS Investment, one of the funds which was frozen, they have clarified that this was a technical freeze, that the funds are still free to move about. So that's so of course, NSDL would be the best organization to clarify that for you, that whether these funds have been frozen or not. But of course, there is a suspect that whether these funds were frozen or not. However, just to clarify, just to add on to the fact that why these funds, why the group companies and the way the stocks stand, was simply because of the fact that you do not have that much of a free float. Because you do not have that much of a free float, and that is so any kind of a suspect in the way these stocks, any suspect of whether the money is kosher or not, will lead to an impact, and the stocks are more prone to manipulation. And that is one of the reasons why we saw such a huge fall in these shares. And so when we were reporting on the story, we were clear that we saw 7 of these funds, which were year-on-year investing in only Adani Group of companies since 2015. The holding has hardly changed. A slight up or down, hardly you could say that this is material, because if you see the entire run that you saw last year, where the stocks really risen from 2020 to now, you would expect that you would book some profits, or you would just want to exit somewhere, or some other big foreign investor or foreign institutional investor, big institutional domestic investor would come into these stocks, but that has hardly happened. So there is a little bit of a suspect about the way, because actually, to be honest, this is a red flag. For most of the investors, could be a red flag, because why else would a domestic institutional investor, a big insurance company, do not invest in Adani companies when there's such a stupendous rise in the stock prices in the past 1 year?